Welcome back. Oh, during the break, one of our, yeah, okay. Shane says you can name me. He says, what's a sweat? I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm sorry. I'm taking it for granted that people know what I'm talking about. There is a Native American ceremony. It's common to many of the Native American tribes, not all. Particularly the Plains Indians and the Native Americans of the Northeast. It's also a native and aboriginal ceremony in Northern Europe. The Finnish maintain this with saunas. More men in Finland show up for community saunas than go bowling, than have bowling leagues. And there's other statistics. I think perhaps more men go to a sauna every week than go to the bar, but I don't remember. It's been some years since I saw it, but there used to be, this literally dates back to ancient times. And so a sweat ceremony is, it's a sacred ritual that also heals and cleanses the body, but the goal is to heal and cleanse the spirit, where they build they take these sticks that make this kind of rounded house on the ground. It's maybe 4 feet high and 10 or 12 feet wide across, and with these curved sticks, and then you cover them with layers after layer after layer of blankets, and you build a big bonfire out in front of it and put giant, 6-8 foot or inch across stones in the fire, underneath the fire, and you burn that fire for hours and hours and hours until the stones are literally red hot. And then you pack a bunch of guys into typically they segregate them, one for men and one for women. First, you start out by, ritual prayers and things. And I'm sure I'm not even beginning to do justice to, this would be like, like my trying to describe, rapping tefillin and davening, and, any Orthodox Jew would ridicule. But in any case, I'm doing my best here. So there's a prayer ceremony before, and there's usually a goal for this. In this case, there were 7 young men. Actually, there was a young woman too. 7 young people up on the mountains who were staying up there for 4 days on this vision quest, and this was in support of them. And you go into this sweat lodge, it's called, and they, with a pitchfork, take 7 red-hot stones out of the fire and put them into a little fire area, middle area inside the sweat lodge. Red-hot stones. It gets really hot. And then they put sage and cedar on it, sometimes tobacco, and say blessings for it. And then they close the door and pour water on the stones. And it's totally black, totally dark, and it is hotter than anything you can imagine. And you're just pouring sweat. And then they say prayers and sing songs, and in some cases there are, I've been in Native American sweats with Native Americans where I was the only white person there, where it was more of a community thing. People would go around the circle and talk about how they had hurt each other, or make apologies, or talk about blessing each other, or, in any case, I don't want to get into too much detail about it. I don't know that much detail about it, and I don't want to profane something sacred. So, and then, after everybody just kind of hits the limits of their endurance, they open the door and some cold air comes in, and there's a whole nother little prayer ceremony, and then another hot rock gets tossed in, and they close the door and put more water on it and do it again. And you can do, a lot of stones over a long period of time, or just a few. And so anyhow, that's a sweat lodge ceremony. So that's what was going on in West Virginia. That and this vision quest, these young people up in the mountain. And this particular one was done in a Lakota-style tradition.